always a pleasure to talk to the both of you. I just interviewed Richard and he told me that you had the opportunity to eavesdrop on some of the court cases as research for the film. So did you both go, and what was most fascinating about that?
Did you go?
No, I didn't go to the court cases.
No, you were involved in elsewhere. Yes, I did go, and then I spent a long time with the women who were judges on my own, without Richard and Duncan, and which was very important to me. You know, that I got a real sense of what it was like for them as women, and watching the cases was fascinating, because you're not normally allowed into the family court. I mean, it's a private environment. But watching these women listening to these terrible stories and so much suffering in those courtrooms, you can see people in states of rage and denial and upset and fear. And there's questions of custody, there's questions of children. You know that whatever decision you make, someone's going to suffer. And sometimes those decisions are life and death decisions. I do not know how they carry that burden. I don't know. So my admiration for them knows no bounds. I mean, it's certainly not a job that I could do.
Yeah, and it obviously informed the role, how the personal lives and the careers do intertwine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, what I found most fascinating about the book is how the relationship, and the film, is how the relationships between those characters also come together. What was your relationship to the book? Did you read it before? Was it a research element for you?
It was a research element for me. I hadn't read it when I read the script. I read the script and then I got the book as kind of part of my build-up to the role. But we talked about it quite a lot, I think, about how the film script is very different to the book, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They're very different kind of beasts. And when we shot the film, I think for me personally, I didn't want to base the character on try and mimic the character in the book too much. I wanted to try and find it for myself and use the script more. And I think we followed the script much more than we did the book. The book's there as reference, but I think you can maybe drive yourself a bit crazy trying to make your character exactly like the character in a book.
No, that's not, and that's not the point as well. You know, I mean, Ian had adapted it, and you've got to adapt it, and then you have to hand it over to the actors.
Totally,
and the actors reinvent what you've written. I mean, that's the joy of it. Is it's a collaboration. So we're not being true to anything. We're just taking these characters and going, who are these people? How can we make them as real as possible? And how can we make this relationship as powerful as possible?
Yeah. And is it challenging to portray a character that's going through a lot of emotional time, but that doesn't show as much emotion on the outside?
Yeah, it is really. I mean, because you can't act it out, you can't evince anything, you can't comment on anything, because that's not her. So mostly, I think you see the difficulties that she's having when she's walking through the streets, because that's when no one's eyes really are on her, and you can see in her gait, the way in which she's using her eyes and her body, how troubled she is and how unhappy she is. But as soon as she gets into the place of work, that's normal, isn't it? But it's true also that she's not an expressive person. That's why when she says to her clerk, were you ever wild and free? I was only ever wild and free once, when she was... You can feel her childhood, that kind of perhaps rather austere, perhaps northern childhood, red brick university, nothing glamorous, nothing kind of bohemian, nothing like that. And so her escape is into music. And then suddenly this young man comes along, and there's music, but there's also this flame of life that's so attractive to her, and it sparks so many things inside her. It's an extraordinary thing to have been given the opportunity to play with.
Yeah, the unexpected. And finally, because this is the kind of film that engages audiences, what would you most love audiences to take out of it?
I hope they're just drawn into it, and I hope that they really kind of are able to engage with the characters and sympathise with the characters, and I hope they just follow the story. And
I want them all to come out and go, we've got to go to the pub now and talk about that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would do. I would come out and go, oh my God, but when they did that and when she did that, but what? But that she shouldn't have done that, because it just is one of those things. There's so much to talk about that doing interviews about it is fascinating. You don't know which road to go down. It's wonderful, the richness of it.